Good morning, who cares? I'm sorry you missed me, I've been here. Good morning, all. Good morning, all. You've been otherwise engaged. Well, I'm glad you liked the dumpstering video. That kind of content always does extremely well, and I'm not entirely sure why. I mean, I have been dumpstering for a decade, so I guess I know how to tell stories about it, but it's interesting to me what works and what doesn't. Well, Erin, if you like, you can join my Discord server and we can chat there if you want a little bit more interaction. I'm glad you like my hair. You once worked in a zoo, and you did that to feed animals. That's cool. No, Erin, I will not come to your wedding. We can be friends, but only in a one-way sort of way. In a parasocial sort of way. You will always know more about me than I know about you. And I think that's okay. I think we can make it work anyway. Hello from Fiji. All the way from Fiji. No, you've not offended me, Erin. I think it's just there's some peculiarities to the nature of the social internet, right? Like, I want to develop relationships with all of you. Like, I really, very deeply care about all of you. But I care about all of you en masse, right? Like, as an audience that I have a relationship with. And that relationship is strongly tinged with ambition and glamour and things that don't actually make for solid friendships, you know? And there are some of you, my moderators, that I know better than that, right? Like, I do know you as individuals and appreciate the unique insights and tremendous amount of care that you bring to this stream. But even with my moderators, the relationship is one-sided, right? There's a power dynamic at play. And, like, I don't think that's problematic, right? Like, I am in similar relationships with other creators that I admire. And, like, that's the world that we've built. This is the world where we trade attention with one another. And I don't think there's any problem with that, or with wanting to be my friend. I just want to set expectations clearly, about what kind of relationships are possible in this medium, right? What kind of relationship can you have with this image of me in the screen? Powerful relationship, an important relationship. It's a virtual yellow brick road. Thanks, Jolie. Jolie's gonna sing with us later on. When do you want to do Morenani? I'd like to get through the Vihafta first, and maybe sometime after that. You let me know. So, we will start with the Shema. Shema in Hebrew means listen. You think I sound like a boy? That's very interesting feedback. You have to go before 11. Alright, well, we'll make sure that you get to perform before you go. Shema Yisrael Asher Eloheinu Yahweh Echad. ואהבת את ענת אלוהיך ובכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך וחיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ולכתך בדרך ובשכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. Good morning, Katie. Yes, this is Hebrew. This is Hebrew. And here's what the words mean in English, or at least what I take them to mean. It's not what they mean in any absolute sense, but meaning is always relative. Do I need a moderator? I always need more moderators, although as we go on, my mod team is getting more and more professional and precise at what they do. They're very dedicated. So if you would like to join the mod team, join my Discord server, and there's some channels there where we talk about the stream and how it goes and what kind of tone we want, and you can participate in that conversation, and if you stick around, I'll make you a mod, for sure. So, the English translation, listen Israel. Israel, Jacob's new name, which is often interpreted as you who struggles with God. El is a Canaanitic god, right? We can see, can I bring up pictures of El for you? Let me bring up a picture of El. El Canaan. Alright, so, yeah, images. Here's El. There are many images of El. This is El sitting on his throne. Here's another one. Here's another one. Here, that's Baal, right? El. Let's look at this picture of El, right? So El is shown seated on a throne. Of course, the throne is not there in that image. The throne was made of some other material that's been lost. Here's El, gold-plated, seated on a throne. Does he have a scepter? Here, in this one he has a scepter. That's probably the best one we have. Right, so El. El was a Canaanitic god king, who ruled from the top of a mountain, Mount Zaphon, on the Syrian coast. And in the Semitic languages that were spoken in Canaan, El was an epithet that was attached to many names. So, Israel, you who struggles with God, right? This is the story of Jacob falling asleep on a great rock, and then he wrestles with an angel, and the angel gives him the new name Israel. And then all the people who came after him, the children of Israel. Listen, Israel. Yahweh, Eloheinu, Yahweh and El, Israel, Yahweh and El, Echad are one. How do you pronounce my name? Well, my username on TikTok is Tiresias. Tiresias is an ancient Greek character, the oldest trans character that I know of. You can see an image of Tiresias right here. There she is, striking serpents. Tiresias was born a man, but when she struck those serpents, she was transformed into a woman. She lived a life as a woman. The blind prophet, yes. Friable, you know. Very good. So, all of the mythology of the ancient Mediterranean forms a kind of pastiche, right? The stories traded from one another, from the Philistines to the Canaanites to the Greeks to the Persians to the Romans, right? All of these traditions, they layer on top of one another like a palimpsest, and so we can look back in our history to understand what the people who came before us thought. So they said, "Listen, Israel, listen, you who struggles with God. Yahweh, Eloheinu, Asherah, Echad, all one. The serpent eats its tail." Tiresias struck serpents and was transformed into a woman, only to be transformed back into a man a generation later. All is one. All opposites are unified. All is one. It's a challenging statement. I say it every day. I say it every single day to you, and yet still when I say it I don't actually know what it means, right? And that's not really the point. It's not actually about like solving a proof. It's not some sort of algebraic formula. It's an assumption about the nature of the universe, and part of that assumption is that it is a thing to be engaged with, which is what the next part of the prayer comes from, the V'ahavta. That's what it means to me. And you shall love, V'ahavta, and you shall love. And you shall love Yahweh Eloheinu, these two gods that are one, Yahweh and El. You shall love Yahweh Eloheinu with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your might. And take to heart these instructions that I am teaching to you today. These instructions that come from me through my phone, to your phone, into you. These instructions. Teach them to your children. And recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, and when you lie down and when you get up. And bind them as a symbol on your hand. That is why I have this symbol here, this Ouroboros. It's older than Yahweh, but it's the same as Yahweh. All is one, right? Bind them as a symbol on your hand, and let them serve as a sign on your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. It's quite a prayer. Quite a prayer, huh? How many of you have mezuzahs? Some of you must. I imagine, Jolie, that you have at least one mezuzah somewhere in your apartment. I'm not qualified to teach Judaism. You're quite right. I have no qualifications. I have no qualifications. The only qualification that I have to teach Judaism is that you all want to listen to me talk about Judaism. And if you don't want to listen to me talk about Judaism, then you can go. One day, perhaps, I will have some Jewish qualifications. One day. But right now, no, I'm just a TikToker. I'm a dumpster diver. I am a religious person, and I want to share what I think and what my experiences are with you. I don't need credentials. You shouldn't be educating people when you're not fully educated either. Interesting. I'm not so sure about that. I think that's up to the crowd to decide. I think everyone here can decide whether or not you want to listen to me, and whether or not the things that I'm saying are true, right? Like, I could be telling you incorrect things, or if not incorrect things, I could be telling you biased things, things that are warped for my own personal agenda, right? You shouldn't take anything that I say as truth, as divine word, right? I'm speaking from this book. I don't take this book to be divine word either. They're words that some powerful men wrote down several thousand years ago to advance their own power. That's why these words exist. And I think they're powerful words. You always feel smarter when you listen to me. Well, that's good. Do be skeptical of me, though. Do be skeptical of me. So, let's keep going with these words. You wouldn't want to learn from someone who had thought they stopped learning. Yes, Ishtaras. God, I really appreciate your perspective. Were I born Jewish? Yes, I was born Jewish. My grandparents were Holocaust survivors. My great-grandmother was exterminated in Auschwitz, as well as my great-grandfather, and most of my grandmother's siblings. Yeah, I was born Jewish. That trauma lives in my body. I know what it feels like to have traumatized parents, traumatized grandparents. Right? And that's part of the tradition. Right? It's part of the tradition, has been part of the tradition for as long as the tradition has been around. And I'll prove it to you. This is no proof, but I will give you some kind of evidence. Right? V'chaya. Ki v'achaya Elohecha el ha'aretz asher nispai lavotecha le'avram li'Yitzchak u'Yaakov לתת לך עברים גדולות וטובות אשר לא בנית, ובתים מלאים כל טובה אשר לא מילאת, ובורות עצובים אשר לא עשת, כהרים וזיתים אשר לא נתת, והלכת ושבת. ישמר לך פן תשכח את יהוה אשר תשכחה מארץ מצרים מבית עבדים. What am I reading? You've got a nice voice. I'm reading from the book of Deuteronomy, and I repeat these words after the V'ahavta. The V'ahavta says repeat me over and over and over again. The V'ahavta doesn't necessarily say repeat the words that come after the V'ahavta, although they do come immediately after. But it surprises me. Like I never learned these words in synagogue. Like we said the V'ahavta every single day, but the words that come immediately after, they were not so highly cited because they're scary. Right? What do they say? When Yahweh Elohim brings you into the land that he swore to your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to assign to you. So when Yahweh brings you into this land, that there's this promise, right? This liturgical promise. When Yahweh brings you this place to assign to you, and what's in that place? Do tell. What's there? Well, great and flourishing cities that you did not build. Jericho, for example. Jerusalem. Conquered cities. When you conquer these cities, and when you go into houses that are full of all good things that you did not fill, and when you drink from hewn cisterns that you did not hew, when you eat from vineyards and olive groves that you did not plant, when you eat your fill, take heed that you do not forget Yahweh, who freed you from the land of Egypt, the house of bondage. This is not a kosher talit. This is my grandfather's talis. He prayed with this every day of his life. So I don't know what you mean by kosher, but it has meaning. This is not my talis. This is my grandfather's talis. I didn't earn it. I have no credentials, right? I did not earn this house that I live in, filled with all good things that I did not fill. I did not earn the cistern that I drink from every morning. This water came from the mountain, right over there. It came from a cistern I did not hew. Yes, I'm trans. Can intellect of mind create a spiritual relationship with Elohim? Sure, I don't see why not. It's called white privilege. Did I earn this milk jug? No, I did not. Someone else bought this milk jug for me. Right, these words, they're acknowledgement of a few things, right? They're acknowledgement of a lack of deserving, right? A recognition that we are humans on this planet, it was given to us, and it will be taken away from us, right? And it's also a recognition of the trauma in the tradition, right? How is it that the people of Israel came by cities that they did not build, and houses full of all good things that they did not fill? Well, it says it in the book, right? Joshua crosses the river Jordan, tears down the walls of Jericho, and kills everyone inside it. That's genocide, right? Or it says earlier in the book that Moses commands the Levitic priests to kill all of those people who were worshipping the golden calf, who were worshipping Asherah. 3,000 people, brothers and kin, died that day. Genocide, right? We have a history of genocide and of theft. We all live on stolen land, and these things, they are so traumatic that they become holy. Do I do tefillin in the morning? I do not. I have my grandfather's tefillin in the same way that I have his talis. And there are people in this stream who I think rightfully are saying, like, you do not deserve to teach Judaism. Rightfully, because I don't have formal training. And I've said this before on the stream, like, I don't do tefillin publicly, because the only times that I've done tefillin have been with Orthodox Jewish men who thought that I was a man. And I am not yet comfortable putting on those objects, putting on that symbol between my eyes. I will one day when there's space in my life to actually learn and actually become a stronger voice in this arena. I will put on those ritual objects, but not yet. Not yet. What do I teach? I teach mycology. And right now I suppose I'm teaching about ancient Judaism, although whether or not I deserve to do so is up for debate. Right? These words that I've just said, the claim is that deserve is not a useful framework. You will have things that you did not earn. They will be taken away from you unrighteously. Both of these things will happen, and it can be okay. Good morning, Coven Commune. How are you today? How are you today? It's a religious object. Sure, I can show it to you. Here are tefillin. So these tefillin, the word in the V'ahavta that I said, letotafot, find it as a symbol between your eyes, letotafot. Here are the tefillin. They are objects that contain the words that I have just spoken to you, because the words that I've just spoken to you, they say, copy me. They say, copy me, and so they're copied in this object. What an object. My grandfather wore this object every day. Alright. So, in the book of Jeremiah, which recounts the destruction of the city of Jerusalem, Jeremiah says over and over again that the purpose of the destruction of the city of Jerusalem is so that we can know the character of God, right? This was before monotheism meant metaphysical unity, meant that there was only one total universal fabric. And instead, Jeremiah's monotheism was, hey, you should only worship Yahweh, because if you don't, he will punish you. This is part of the character of God. So now we're going to say another prayer. What are my thoughts on the devil? Well, they're very similar to my thoughts about Yahweh. Baruch atah Yahweh, Eloheinu melech haolam, shelo ashani isha. I repeat the name of Yahweh Eloheinu, who did not make me a woman. I did. Baruch atah Asherah, Anat Malecha Haolam, Asher Yitzaret Ha'adam Bechachama Uvara Ve'o. I repeat the name of Asherah Anat, who made me with many openings and cavities. Here's Asherah. There was a time where Asherah was worshipped alongside Yahweh, and I'm bringing that time back. That is my intention. And in so doing, I will insist that these are both characters. They're not omnipotent or universal. They're just structures that can help us understand the universal reality that we are all embedded within. Jolie, would you like to get ready to share your prayers with us? I think we can do it soon. I will keep going on, but get your camera set up and get your guitar out, and when you're ready, just give me a little invite and I will add you to the stream. Jolie is one of my moderators, and they want to share a prayer with us. Oh, right now? Oh, you're just so ready. All right, let's do it. Hey.
Hey, sorry, I heard Jolie. Would you like to? And I immediately jumped on. I didn't hear the end of that. So.
That's great. You're great. So, will you tell me a little bit about this prayer?
Yeah, so it's called Modeh Ani. It's basically thanking God, the divine king, whatever you want to call it, for entrusting myself with my soul, putting my soul back into my body. You're supposed to say it upon waking up before you even leave your bed, which is very fun since I am in my bed.
There you are. I'm in my bed too. Did you know?
Oh, cool. I think I did know, based on other forms of the setup I've seen. But this is a prayer that I learned. I was raised Reform Jewish, which for folks who don't know is one of the more common Jewish practices in the United States. It's a little more, it's less strict and observant as some practices are. And I went to a Jewish camp, summer camp, where we had services in the morning and at night. And so we have this every morning as kind of a great wake up song. So it's filled with me, like every time I sing it, I think about being in an outdoor place for prayer, next to all my other campers, waking up and being super tired, but singing this song and just being ready to worship and connect with the world and with the divine in whichever way I wanted to at that moment. No devil with
Thank you so much. That was really beautiful.
I don't know if you have more stuff you'd like to do. I can also do Golem Chesed, but I'm also cool enough and giving you the...
Why don't you do one more? Like, I this space needs to be shared, right? I mean, it's a funny thing. Like, okay, I'm, like, building this weird social media personality, whatever, but, like, I don't want a platform where it's just me. So, please, another song.
Thank you. Yeah, I really liked what you had to say about kind of parasocial relationships, because, in a sense, I do know a lot more about you than you know about me.
You do.
But as a mod and as someone who's joined the live, you've seen me fully in my flesh. We also, or at least the light projection of my flesh, as I like to say. And also we both do have some stuff in common. I go to the same university as she, the university she's an alum of. And, you know, obviously the algorithm put us in contact, so we do have some similarities inside that, of course. Although there are lots of folks who somehow the algorithm gives them to us, even though there's no reason why.
The algorithm incentivizes hate just as much as anything else. Engagement is engagement. It can't read content. It's a funny kind of mind.
Right. Right, the algorithm's like, oh, you like watching these things and hating on it, so I'm gonna give it to you to hate on. Which is so funny, because, like, I have friends who will, or acquaintances, I guess I'll say, will send me TikToks And I'll be like, why are you sending me this? I don't like it. And they're like, because it's fun to make fun of. And I'm like, your algorithm sends you stuff that you specifically dislike because you like to dislike it? Like,
the mind is strange.
Right. Some folks enjoy having some negativity in their lives. I personally, the world is negative as it is. I want to have as much positivity as possible, which goes into this next song, Olam Chesed. I always do the same kind of preface. Olam Chesed means I will build this world from love, as a rough translation. And I do this so I lead these spiritual Shabbat services at my university, and I do this one every time. It's the only one that I do every time. And it's basically, the reason why it's so important to me is because I think a lot of us are really angry all the time at the injustices we see, regardless of where you stand on the spectrum of the political spectrum or what you believe. There's just there's so much injustice always happening, and in order to fight it, that anger can serve as a great fuel, but it also burns you and your surroundings out. And so trying to find a way to fuel that anger with love for the people that you're angry for their well-being about, as well as just trying to find other ways to improve the world through positivity and love and compassion. I don't like being angry, and I'm trying to find more ways to build this world from love. I think communes, the good ones that is, I know some folks are like, communes are cults, but obviously that's only a small percentage. I think communes can often be a really great way of, resisting against the systems we see out of love for the people that you're surrounded by, the community that you're building, showing an alternative form of living through nourishing each other and taking care of each other, and not worrying so much about your individual self, because your needs will be met if you're taking care of each other, and et cetera, et cetera. Right. But I'll go on to the song now. Olam Chesed Yibana, Olam Chesed Yibana, Olam Chesed Yibana, Olam Chesed Yibana, I will build this world from love. And you must build this world from love. And if we build this world from love, then God will build this world from love.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for letting me share your platform for a little bit.
Of course.
I hope the trolls were able to enjoy that and not just.
Oh, they're fine. They're fine.
It's like we're sharing all this love, and they're just like they're focused on one thing only, and I'm like, you're not paying attention to all the joy and positivity and compassion we're sharing.
They're doing their own kind of flavor of community building. I mean, that's what they do. They parrot one another, right? Like, they build solidarity through shared dislike of something. And, like, that's not actually that different from what my friends do, right? Like, I mean, it's a human thing. Like,
right.
we build in-groups and out-groups, and I can't actually fault them for it in an ultimate sense. I just be like, well, whatever. Like, you do you. I'll do me.
We're just, we all build community through anger and through love, but there's different ways to do that, I feel like, that are more productive than being like, waking up and being like, I'm gonna go insult this person today. But anyways, I'm gonna have to log off in like 10 minutes, but I will join back to the stream and help mod it.
All right,
so,
great.
All right.
I'll shift into Sanskrit.
Peace, everyone.
I'll see you later. So, can you all hear me okay? Because we've had this problem in the past where when I sign off from a shared live that my audio drops, and so I don't want that to happen. The mic, is it too quiet? Volume lowered again. All right, so here's the deal. I am going to turn off this stream, and I'm going to turn it back on right away. So don't go anywhere. And I'm going to leave and come back immediately. Okay? Immediately. And we'll see who comes. And it'll be an interesting filter. Okay, I will see you in 5 seconds. Ready? Bye. Okay, and we are back. We're back. I'm gonna get some water. And we are back. We're back. My talus is all messed up. Okay. So, I'm gonna shift into Sanskrit now, because we've done Hebrew. Now we can do... Is that a kosher... People are telling me my talus is not kosher. I'm not exactly sure what you mean when you say kosher. Like, it's my grandfather's talus. Like, it was made in a traditional setting. It was lovely of them to share, wasn't it? Yeah. A talus to cover my back. Okay. Well, it's traditionally wrong. What's traditionally wrong about it, NK? What is traditionally wrong about it? Where are we? Okay, so now we're going to do Hi Line Wife. We really do care about tradition in this team. I mean, what does it mean to care about... Like, I do care about tradition, right? Like, in many ways, I'm attracted to kind of orthodoxy that might alienate a lot of people. But I care about tradition for evolutionary reasons, right? Because if you go back to the root, you can understand something of the metastructure. Right? But I don't care about tradition in the sense that what people did in the past is what we need to do today. That would be absurd. But I do care about understanding what those traditions were and engaging with them very seriously and very empathetically. So, the tradition that we are now going to engage with comes from Shivananda. So Shivananda is the name of a guru from India. He died in the 70s, but prior to that, was it the 70s? I don't actually know. He died a while ago, and he sent a bunch of acolytes to the United States to start ashrams, to start religious institutions. The talus is not an orthodox talus, and my tefillin needs to be wrapped before putting away. Okay. You're right, I'm doing it wrong. And you can call me out for doing it wrong. I don't know how to do it right, but I'm doing it the best I can. and I'm doing it in a way that feels meaningful to me. Your family was able to recreate a 600-year-old tree DNA. They named the saplings after them. That's really cool. That's really cool. I've not had breakfast already. We'll have breakfast shortly. I want to do Shivananda prayers first. So I learned this prayer at the Shivananda ashram in the Catskills. I've been going there since I was very, very young. And I spent some months there. I learned how to garden there. Orthodox talis is more like a shawl than a scarf. Yeah, I do have other talit here. I can show you. I don't wear these larger ones because they're so big. They don't fit me. I'm a small human. Right? Look at this. It's very large. Very, very large. It smells like my grandfather's house still. Musty. It's 1 a.m. You try to stick around for as long as possible. I'm glad. Okay, so this mantra is called the Shivananda Dhyana Sloka. Can you read that? It's probably backwards. It's always backwards when I put it, but that's okay. And it's a prayer that is said before pranayama practice, which is a breathing yoga practice that I teach sometimes. Am I qualified to teach it? No. I just took several dozen pranayama classes and tried to learn the process. I do teach it. I mostly teach it on a trans voice server that I moderate because I find that pranayama has been really useful for helping me control my abdominal muscles and understand the way that they all interact. Did you know that hormones will change the way your abdomen works? You're so welcome, Coven. In any case, the mantra goes like this. Kajananam bhutakanati sevitam kapita jambupala sarabakshitam umasutam sakavinasakarnam mahami vigneshwara pada pankajam umasutam sakavinasakarnam mahami vigneshwara pada pankajam sadananam kunkumaraktavarnam mahamatim divyamayuravahanam ridasyasvinam sarasainanatam guham sadanam saranam prapadye yaku hendutu saraharadvala yasubravasvarita yavinavaranam manditakara Yasvita Padmasana Ya Brahmachuta Sankara Pratrapi Devasata Pujita Samampatu Saraswati Bhagavati Nihesa Jadyapaha Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Sachidananda Murtaye Nisparanchaya Santaya Shivanandaya Te Namaha Shivishnu Devanandaya Te Namaha Om Sarva Mangla Manglaye Shive Savarta Sadike Saranye Chayambake Gauri Narayani Namostite Narayani Namostite Om Am I saying words? Yes, the words. The last verse means, I salute the three-eyed Divine Mother, Narayani, who brings auspiciousness and who fulfills the desires of the devotee, both spiritual and material. So many traditions in the world have this idea that this point of the body is a center of importance, right? That is why tefillin are placed here, is why the third eye is identified here, right? And I can say from personal lived experience that, yes, this part of the body is very sensitive and worth paying attention to. So we can salute the three-eyed Divine Mother, right? This is not what she looks like, but nonetheless, this is a Divine Mother, and we can salute her as we move along, saying the various words that we say every day. Every single day. Say these words. Why? Why do we say these words? Why do you think? Who do I worship? I worship the world. I don't think that worship or prayer is a transitive activity. I don't think you pray for something. I don't think you worship someone. I think you pray or you worship in the same way that you be, right? Worship is an intransitive verb. Sayambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushche Vardhanam Urvaru Kamibavandanan Mrityar Mukshiyamamritato Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivardhanam Urvaru Kamibavandanan Mrityar Mukshiyamamritato Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashantu Makashid Dukhabhag Bhave Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotir Gamaya Mrityar Mamritam Gamaya Om Purnamadam Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishate Om Shanti 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 Om Peace Peace Peace. Om. That outer world is full. This inner world is also full, outside and inside. They're interchangeable. From fullness comes fullness. Taking full from full, fullness remains. Om. Peace. Om. Peace. It's the same thing, right? I say these prayers in concert with one another, the Hebrew and the Sanskrit, because they literally say the same thing, right? All these traditions are pointing at the same universal foundation of our reality. All is one. Taking full from full, fullness remains, like a serpent which eats its tail, like a bush which burns but is not consumed. That is what the infinite is. Welcome, all you lovely new people. Welcome, welcome. TikTok likes it if you hit the like button, so I have to tell you to do that, because do you know this is a professional environment, and I'm playing a game. Playing a game, I try to get the numbers higher and higher, because it makes me feel better about myself. That's not entirely why I do it, but it's a game, and you can help me play the game. I appreciate that. Oh, look at that. You're helping me play the game. Look at that. So, now we are going to say a prayer about prayer. This was a song that was written by an American pop group, folk group, I don't know what genre they're in, Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros. I know many of you like it very much. It's my favorite too. I prefer not to pray in English, because I think there's something holistic about using other languages. Like I don't actually speak Hebrew. I don't speak Sanskrit. And although I have studied the prayers that I recite, and I know what they mean somewhat line for line, because I don't have a voice in my head that's constantly translating for me, I can take in sort of the holistic meaning of it, right? I can say the V'ahavta, and when I say the V'ahavta, the whole thing just means to me all is one, copy me, right? Even though that's not literally what they say. So I like praying in other languages because the meta meaning can come out. You can think of the entire prayer as like a single word or a single utterance in a way that I can't do in English, because my mind is too practiced in dissecting the syllables into their different parts, right? But nonetheless, I think it is important to pray in English, because English is the language that you all speak, and it's how I can be understood best. And I think this prayer gets at that meaning without meaning. Not the prayer, but the prayer, from a word that means only not a thing, Hashem. Alright, so, with that, let's begin. I don't wanna pray to my maker, no. I just wanna be feeling free. Not just who I am, but the pink in golden land and that wide, wild sky over me. Help me to the sun, hey, I'm looking everywhere. See, I'm looking to become not the prayer, but the prayer. And I don't want to pray, no. I don't want to pray, no, no, no. I don't want to pray. We don't want to pray. And it's not much good to talk. Better to walk it. Ooh, not much good to take. Better to give. We are done, forgiven, and forgotten of our sins. And I promise you, my friends, all that dies will live again. So, pardon, God and Mom, what I'm saying isn't fair. See, I'm looking to become not the prayer, but the prayer. And I don't want to pray, no. I don't want to pray, no, no, no. I don't want to pray. We don't want to pray. And I love Allah, Allah made love. And Yahweh, Yahweh made hate. Asher, Asher, made good. And Anat made bad. Eloheinu made love. And Yahweh, Yahweh made hate. I love Allah. God made, God made, God made. But I don't want to pray to my Maker. No. I just want to be what I see. Not like in a book, or the leaves of trees that shook from a word that means only not a thing. No, no. Pardon, God and Mom. What I'm saying isn't fair. See, I'm looking to become not the prayer, but the prayer. And I don't want to pray, no. I don't want to pray, no, no, no. I don't want to pray. We don't want to pray. Pray. I love Allah, Allah made love. And Yahweh, Yahweh made hate. Asher, Asher, made good. And Anat made bad. Eloheinu made love. And Yahweh, Yahweh made hate. I love Allah. God made, God made, God made me. Except that's a lie. You know that, right? None of those gods exist. They're just stories. They're very good stories. They're compelling stories that are worth telling and telling again. But they are just stories. And in fact, I made me. You all are making me right now. So I'm more than myself, right? We are a collective. What a funny kind of collective. Collective torn on itself. Half of it wants to hurt the other half. But isn't that always what it is? Isn't that always what it is? From a word that means only not a thing, not like in a book, or the leaves of trees that shook, from a word that means only not a thing. Hashem. Hashem means the name, which is often a pseudonym that is put in place of God, because Yahweh doesn't want us saying his name, because his name means, what does it name mean? What does that name mean? Can I find this quote? Yeah. And Yahweh said to them, Thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, each of you put sword on thigh, go back and forth from gate to gate throughout the camp, and slay brother, neighbor, and kin. The Levites did as Moses had bidden, and some 3,000 people fell that day. Right? The dynamics of this chat are not dissimilar to the dynamics of the religion as a whole, right? The religion has always been torn in half. There have always been occupiers and occupied. And that is how the thing emerged, right? That is the serpent that eats its tail. So, good vibes only, please. But I don't expect good vibes only. And y'all can say what you wish. Occupiers and occupied, yes. Always. For the last 3,000 years. Occupiers and occupied. Living in the same place. The same people. Literally the same people. Some are occupied, some are occupiers. Yet they are all the same. So, now we will do Arati. Arati. I'm saying that I'm Jewish and that God isn't real. Yes, indeed. God is a social construct, right? Okay, but this is the thing. I'm not actually saying that God isn't real. I'm trying to be very specific about what part of the universe I place God in, right? And so we can make a metaphysical claim, right? The physicists, right? Like Einstein said this, E equals mc squared. The claim is that light and matter are interchangeable, right? So underneath that is a claim that all the substances of the universe are actually one substance. And so anything that you say is God is going to be all of the things, right? So this is a metaphysical statement, right? Then we can make a social statement. We can say, okay, God is a social construct, which does not mean that God is not real, right? Gender is a social construct, but gender is very real, right? God is a force that acts in the world. God makes people do things, terrible things, wonderful things, right? So it would be ludicrous to say that God is not real, right? My claim is more nuanced than that. What I want to say is that God is not supernatural, right? There is no force from outside the universe that is going to cause us to do something. These forces are us, right? We created these ideas. We created these dynamics of occupier and occupied, right? And, so no, I'm not saying that God is not real. I'm just saying that Skydad doesn't necessarily have much of an impact on how I view myself. And yet he does. Yet he does. Okay, Arati. Arati means flame, or light in Sanskrit. Arati means flame or light. And this prayer that we're going to do contains the refrain, Jaya Jayarati. Jaya Jayarati Vina Vinayaka Vina Vinayaka Shri Ganesha. So who's Ganesha? Ooh, my stomach is rumbling. It's time to eat food. Thank you for the roses. Thank you for the likes. Do you know, when I log on to TikTok, every time now TikTok says, remind your audience to like your video. It's like, I'm just an employee of a giant Chinese algorithm. What is this? But anyway, Ganesha is the elephant god of overcoming obstacles who we invoke at the start of the prayer. Ganesha had his head chopped off by his father. Not unlike Jesus, who was sacrificed by his father. What kind of father is that? Well, so it goes. So Ganesh had his head replaced with that of an elephant, as thanks for protecting his mother from home invasion. So the story goes. So this prayer will repeat various names of Hindu gods and will conclude by invoking Jesus and Moses and Buddha and Muhammad, all of the various spiritual idea holders and idea givers that we are familiar with. And they're all associated with light, Arati, right? So here we go. Jaya Jayarati Vina Vinayaka Vina Vinayaka Shri Ganesha Jaya Jayarati Subramanya Subramanya Kartikeya Jaya Jayarati Venugopala Venugopala Venuola Papa Vidura Navanita Chora Jaya Jayarati Venkanta Ramana Venkanta Ramana Sankata Harana Sita Rama Radhe Shama Jaya Jayarati Gauri Manohara Gauri Manohara Bhavani Sankara Samba Sadashiva Uma Maheshwara Jaya Jayarati Raja Rajeshwari Raja Rajeshwari Tripura Sundari Mahalakshmi Mahasaraswati Mahakali Mahashakti Jaya Jayarati Anjaneya Anjaneya Hanumanta Jaya Jayarati Dattatreya Dattatreya Trimurti Avatara Jaya Jayarati Adityaya Adityaya Bhaskaraya Jaya Jayarati Sanistaraya Sanistaraya Bhaskaraya Jaya Jayarati Sanistaraya Sanistaraya Bhaskaraya Jaya Jayarati Sankaracaya Sankaracaya Advaita Guravi Jaya Jayarati Sadgurunata Sadgurunata Shivananda Jaya Jayarati Vishnu Devananda Vishnu Devananda Vishnu Devananda Jaya Jayarati Agastya Munaye Agastya Munaye Shyama Priyaye Jaya Jayarati Ayapa Swamine Ayapa Swamine Dharma Shastave Jaya Jayarati Jesus Gurave Moses Gurave Buddha Gurave Jaya Jayarati Muhammad Gurave Guru Nanak Gurave Samastya Gurubho Namaha Jaya Jayarati Venugopala Om Natatra Suyabati Natandrakaratam Nema Vidyobati Kutoya Magni Tvameva Bantamidabandi Sarvam Tasya Basya Samidam Vivanti Om Gange Kayamune Kaiva Govari Saraswati Narmade Siddhikaveri Samastitam namo namaha. Neither the sun shines there, nor the moon, the stars, or lightning. So from where does the light come? When that shines, everything else shines after that. By its light, all else is lit. Matter and light are intertwined, and all things come from the one thing. Tvameva mata, chapita tvameva, tvameva bandusha saka tvameva, tvameva vidya, dravinam tvameva, tvameva sarvam mama deva deva, kayena vacha, manasendriyarva, buddhyatmanava prakrite sabhavad, karomi adyad, mangalam parasmahe, narayana iti sarmar payami, sarvadharmam pravichayam amikam savanam vraja, aham sva sarvapapayo, mokshayami masucha. Whatever actions I perform with my body, speech, mind, senses, my nature, my intellect, or my emotions, all these, I dedicate to you, to all of you. Thank you so, so much for being here with me today. It means a great deal. Thank you so much for contributing, for making this space what it is. Like, it's not just, oh, thank you for the attention, thank you for watching me. That's not what I mean. Thank you for creating this space with me, for making something that I literally could not participate in without you. Sanskrit. That was Sanskrit, for all of you wondering. And yes, I am a boy or a girl. That's true. It's very true, for those of you who are wondering that. And now we will shift back into Hebrew to say Kaddish. So what is Kaddish? Let's do some etymology here. There's a goddess named Katesh, or Kadesh, or Kadosh. It's difficult to say. If you look up her Wikipedia page, you will see about 12 different pronunciations of her name, because we don't know how ancient pronunciation was, but this is what she looked like. This is the stele of Katesh, or a modern recreation of it. You can see she holds a snake, and she rides a lion, and she's arousing some gods to her left and right. There was a city on the Syrian coast named Katesh, also, that she was worshipped in. And that, from that name, came a whole host of different ideas, one of which I bear. My name is Kaddish, right? That is my last name. Kadosh in Hebrew means holy, and probably the most famous instance of that word in the Torah is when Isaiah is hallucinating very vividly the destruction of his homeland, the Babylonians coming in to rape and pillage, and he is at the throne of God, covered in angels, and all the angels are chanting, Kadosh, 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 holy, holy, holy. This death is holy, this destruction is holy, the occupiers and the occupied are both holy. And so, since then, for the last 2,500 years, my ancestors have been saying the following words in response to death. Vidgadal vidgadash shemei rabba, biyama divrach yute v'yamlich mal chute, b'chayachon v'yamechon v'chayed kol beit Yisrael, b'agala u'izman kariv v'imru, amin. Yehi shemei rabba miva'arech li'alam umei omaya, v'itbarach v'ishtabach v'itba'ar v'itramam v'itnaseh, v'itadar v'taleh v'talal shemei dekudesha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechimata, di'amiran v'yama v'imru, amin. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'yachol Yisrael, v'imru, amin. Oseh shalom b'imramav, huya aseh shalom, aleinu v'yachol Yisrael, v'imru, amin. Oh, say shalom bimramav, say shalom aleinu, v'alechol Yisrael, v'imru, v'imru, amin. Thank you all so much for being here with me today. Thank you so, so much. You hear the chicken? Chicken says it's time for breakfast. It's time for breakfast. Take off the tallis. No, it's not a perm. This is just my hair. Just my hair. Alright. So, should we have some breakfast? You can ask me questions, I can answer them now. Pray that you are counted with the number of children of Israel, and repent. Yah's universe. I really love getting these, like, Orthodox people in my chat. I really appreciate it. Like, you are the people that I want to talk to. The people who think I'm actually blaspheming. Right? The people who think I'm heretical. You are the folks that I want to talk to. Because I wonder about how you see the world. Am I a boy or a girl? Yes. I also contain myself. I am vast. I contain multitudes. Look at me in a screen. Look at this little piece of art that I must show you every day. This is the meaning of this tattoo on my hand. So I posted this dumpster video, and people are like, oh, your tattoo, it's so dumpstery. And it's true. It's also this. Look at that. All right. But enough of that. I know I find that very aesthetically pleasing. I really like this image within an image. Here's my screen, here's my phone, back and forth, capturing, but I recognize that that's a little pedantic to most of you. And really, you just want to hear me slurp food and insult my chewing out loud. So you can do that. Actually, you can ask me questions. Ask me questions about life in community, or about dumpster diving, or